In the previous video, we have learned how to create a new ASP.NET project and also learned about the tabs and the options in Visual Studio. In this video, I want to teach you how you can save the data into the database using Entity Framework. Let's get started. So, as you remember from the last video, I put everything in the index page. Now in this video, I want to move all these elements to this personal info and do the rest of the thing from this personal information page. Let's close it. For now, I want to move everything from here to the personal info page. Let's paste it. So test it. Okay, very good. All the elements is here. Now these are the steps that I want to do in this part. I want to create the classes and create the views from those classes and also make it professional. So close. For the better understanding of your project, if someone else from the outside looking at your code, you have to make your code more clear. For the classes, I want to add a new folder, class, and create a new class that I name it personal underline information. Enter. Now it's our class. So the class is public because we need to access to this class from all over this project. Let's see what we are having here. First name, last name, and the mobile number. With prop keywords and tab, you can create a new variable in the classes. So the first thing is ID, prop, the second is string for first name, the next is last name, and the last thing is mobile number. Let's do it as a string, mobile underline number. Very well. All the objects are created. We do it this data annotation required and tab. As you see here, there is a using adding to our code that is related to data annotations. So required for the name and required for the last name and also for the mobile number. Build the project that you see, no problem is here. That's fine. Save it. So for the next step, we needed a DB context that helps us to connect our project to the database. Let's go to Solution Explorer, right click, create a new folder. I name it as a data. It's somehow a general name or it's completely up to you that name it. And create a new class. I name it as a context. For using the full potential of the Entity Framework, we have to inherit this class from DB context. DB context. And so as you see here, it's somehow unknown to this project because we have to install the assembly to our project. We can click it here, and as you see here, the Visual Studio suggests us to install the latest version of the Entity Framework. Click, it takes some seconds and it's done. So the red error is gone. Now we need a constructor for this class. So it names as a context. This constructor needs some parameters. Here we write it db context options, name of our db context, and name it as a options. So this inherited from base, and here put it options. And let's delete these empty spaces. And so it's done. And I want to define our class to the Entity Framework. I write it prop db set name of our class, which is personal information and name it as a personal underline informations. So from this time, with this variable, we have access to the data. So after that, we have to define our DB context to the project. We go to the program.cs and add our DB context to the project. Let's copy and paste it for the speed of our project. Now, before we go furthermore to creating our view, we have to install some packages. That means you should install these packages on your project, which is Microsoft Entity Framework Core, Entity Framework Core SQL Server, Entity Framework Core Tools, and Microsoft.Visual Studio Web Code Generation Design. This package handles all the scaffolding parts of your project. So let's close it, go to the Solution Explorer, and so for separating our pages from the rest of the project, I want to add a new folder. I name it as a personal underline information underline pages and right click on it. Let's add a new Razor page. Here there is 3 ways that you can create a new Razor page. The first one creates an empty page, the second one using Entity Framework, and the last one create all the things automatically. For now I want to choose the second one that I want to show you. So let's name it as a create because it's located in the personal information pages and it's obviously cleared. That is related to the personal information. Create our class, and this is the DB context. Let's click add. It takes some seconds and create everything for you. Very well. As you see here, it creates a CSS/HTML, the view form, and also the backend code. Let's do it for the other functions. Add new Razor pages. And for now, I want to use it as a details and details. Let's add it. Let's do it for delete. And here selected delete our class and done. So another time add. So what's left? That's for edits. And here, here I have to choose edit. And let's add the last function, which is list. Edit and name it as a list. Here we have list, our class, and done. That's very fine. If we want to test it our project, we have to have a new database. Let's run the SQL Server and create a new database. If you do not know how to create a new database, I have a good video that you can click on this link and learn it. So create a new database. So I want to name it as a Hello World DB and create it. So very good. Our database is here. Now I want to add our database to the project. So go to the Server Explorer, click on this icon, and here for the server name, write it dot and trust the server certificate, and you have access to all the databases that you were created. Test the connection. It's successful and okay. So your database is here. For adding the database to the project, you have to add the database connection string here in the appsetting.json. But before that, you have to match the name from this appsetting.json and the program.cs. So here it's default connection, and go to the appsetting.json, change the name here, and copy and paste the address of the database here. Properties, data source, and it's here. So for adding our class as a table to our database, we need a migration. What is migration? Migration is a version control for tracking our database changes. For this purpose, we are going to Package Manager console, write it add migration and name it init, for example, GBL. As you see here, it says the table name is personal information, and these are the fields that added to this table. Now we have to do one more thing. We have to update our database. So use it update database. Let's see. Now we have a problem. Let's see what's the problem. The connection string property has not been initialized. So that was my mistake. Here I have to set it back. Let's just copy this, Control Z. So connection string, here we have to name it as a default connection, which we have it in the program.cs. Let's run it again. So clear it and update database. Let's see what's happening now. And as you see, it's done. Let's go to the SQL Server and see the changes. And very well, as you see here, the table is created. So let's get back to our project and close everything. As the Visual Studio create everything for us, we do not need this personal information page anymore. Now I want to go to the layout page and add the new address. And as we added a new folder here, that name is personal information pages. Let's copy it and paste it instead of this. And so name the list page. And in the list page, it shows all the information from our database. Let's run the project and see the results. So it's empty here. Let's go to the personal info and very well. As you see here, we have the name of the page, which is list, and here all the columns that we created on the table. So here there is a point that you shouldn't be forget. If I click create new, nothing happened. Why? As I mentioned it, because we created a new folder here, we have to add this new folder also in the backend of this create new link. So close it. Let's go to the list. And here I want to edit this one. Let's test it again. Now, if I click on the create new link, it goes to the create page of personal information. Very well. As you see here, everything that we created is here. And as you remember it, we added required, which is automatically add this star before the name of each column, which is required. And if I click it create, you see here, the first name field is required and for the rest. So let's close the project. As I've told you, the Visual Studio create everything for us, which means if I go to the create.cshtml.cs and go to the on post async action, you see here automatically generate the code that save everything to the database. But here instead of index, I want to redirect it to the list. Let's test it and see the result. Personal info and goes to the create new, name like John, and the last name, for example, K. It's not important. 1, 2, 3, create, and very well. As you see, everything that we type it saved into the database. So, for example, if I click it on details, and as you see here, it shows everything. But we have to change the other redirects to the list page. So let's close it. Go to the Solution Explorer, for example, for delete, it should goes to the list, and details also list, and edit, it's also should goes to the list with back to list link, and it's done. So let's test it together. So we go to the personal information, we click it on edit, I change it to 678, save. So I forget to change the link here, and you see this error. Let's close it. So actually we go to the edit form, and in the CS file we also change it to list, and the Visual Studio suggested to us. Let's do it for delete also. So let's list here, and I think it's done. For the create, it's also okay. So let's test it. So let's click edit, and I edit, for example, 678 to it, save, and the changes are saved. And if again I go to the details, you see all the changes, back to the list, and let's add one more thing like test 1 2 3, and the number is something like that. I want to test the delete button, so delete it. It goes here, and as you are sure you want to delete this, and say delete, so everything works fine. Thank you guys for watching the video up to the end. I hope you enjoy it. In the next video, I will teach you how you can design it your website in a professional way. And if you have any further question, please write down in the comments. I would be happy if you click like and subscribe button to my channel, and see you in the next video.